Thank you for giving me this opportunity to address U40. Even though I couldn't make it to the forum, I was in Long Beach representing the city at the League of California Cities conference and got a lot of really cool ideas there. So I'm glad I went. But again, thank you for your patience. I wanted to address the questions that Eric VM sent me that the table captains had come up with. And I'm going to ask my husband Stephen to read me the questions, and then I'm going to respond.
What's your long-term, 10-plus years, vision for SLO's growth and development?
This is something I have worked on intensely for a long time. And my ideas and concepts have been incorporated into the land use and circulation element update, as well as the open space element, the bike path plans, all of the planning that has been done over the past 20 years, and specifically over the last 2 years that I have been mayor. What I'm envisioning is a dense urban environment in the downtown where there would be multifamily type apartments available, and if sited appropriately, near transit. And then in the newer neighborhoods, we would be looking at modest housing that's affordable by design, so that there are many options for many different people. I still would never abandon the urban reserve line, and I've been dedicated to building up the green belt around it. So basically I would see San Luis Obispo in the next 10 years looking and feeling much as it does now, but with added opportunities, so that people who commute now would be able to live in the city where they work.
How would you fight global warming on the local level?
This is another thing I've been working on for quite a while. I have partnered with the local government commission and the Kresge Foundation to get a study done of the effect of global warming just on San Luis Obispo County in 2010, and I have been negotiating with them recently to get that updated. The climate action plan needs to be stepped up in terms of the speed of implementation, and we need to make sure that new housing developments are as efficient when it comes to energy as possible. I think that working with the state and the region, we can do a lot to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions and the vehicle miles traveled, but we can't do it alone. It's going to take a team effort.
What can the city do to make sure we don't suffer in the wake of Diablo's shutdown?
This is a real problem, and I believe that the city is doing the right thing. I voted in favor of intervening in the Public Utilities Commission hearing, which is coming up on October 20th, as part of the coalition of cities. So this is the first thing, to make sure that we have funding, if possible, from Diablo Canyon and PG&E to diversify our economy. We need to get the present workers a chance to be retrained, and also I'd like to see some funding going into promoting entrepreneurship, not just with the student-aged people, but in general. I think that clean industry that is basically creative is going to really be a plus for our county.
What is your stance on the rental housing inspection program, and what changes will you make as mayor?
The rental housing inspection program needs to be reevaluated, and I have instructed staff to get as much data as we possibly can, given the need to have real facts and information when it appears on the new City Council's agenda in March of 2017. I made the motion to put it on that agenda because it is clear to me that both landlords and many tenants are concerned about possible unanticipated negative impacts of the program. I'm interested in the program that is in place in Berkeley, which is called the Rental Housing Safety Program. I think that's a better title. But I also want to explore other options and see if if there are ways that the program can be changed so that it is truly a good fit and carefully tailored for the city of San Luis Obispo. The new council may decide to reject it altogether. On the other hand, it's possible that we can come up with some kind of new, inventive, and creative solution that will protect the tenants. That's my main concern.
How do you plan on increasing community engagement? How can the City Council better engage people under the age of 40?
The city has made great strides in terms of interactive capacity with its website. I made sure that all of the agenda correspondence is actually posted on the website so that it's not just the City Council that are getting the letters and the emails, but also anyone who's interested in an issue. I think that town hall meetings are a good idea. Possibly we should do one for the rental housing inspection program. And in general, just making sure that people know where to get the information, making sure that when there is a project in an area that we cast a broad net in terms of notifying people. Now, the problem for people under 40, and I have to say I share that although I'm not under 40, is just people are terribly busy. And so we need to make sure that there are ways that are efficient and quick and I'd say user-friendly for people to engage.
What are your thoughts on Cal Poly housing and how do they relate to neighborhood issues?
I've urged Cal Poly from the first day that Jeffrey Armstrong was in office. I've urged Cal Poly to build more on-campus dorms, which is what they're doing right now. I don't think that they're in the right place. I think they should be further away from the established neighborhoods, but at least they will be providing close to 1,500 spaces in 2018. I've also heard recently that the urging that I've been doing along with a lot of other people, including the people who live right around Cal Poly, has resulted in the decision to build another 1,800 spaces. So they're exploring that right now. They imagine that they would be in place around 2020. So the general direction is more housing on campus for students, and hopefully that will have the result of freeing up workforce housing for permanent residents who need to rent.
Compared to your opponent, how are you different when it comes to environmental priorities?
Well, that's an interesting question. I truly would not, I don't know that much about my opponent's environmental priorities, except that she is against the oil trains, which she and I share that perspective, and also that she wants to do everything possible to counter climate change. So that's all I'm aware of in terms of her environmental priorities. In terms of my own priorities, they're not just positions or opinions, but they're actually achievements that I have worked hard for as long as I've been involved with city issues, such as protecting 7,000 acres of open space in the negotiation for 1,200 more. And working in all different capacities whenever possible to make San Luis Obispo as green and clean as possible. I've been concerned as a businesswoman that the business community and the environmental community were really at each other's throats for many years, and I have tried my best to bring them together. I think that we're at a stage right now where the business community understands that destroying the environment and quality of life is not going to be good for business. And the environmental community is beginning to understand that having a vibrant economy is really also a plus, because poverty is not good for anybody. And when it comes to vehicle miles traveled and reducing greenhouse gas emissions, I think the environmental community has become more accepting of the fact that we're going to have more housing in the city of San Luis Obispo.
What do you think about chain stores moving in downtown, and what would you do to preserve downtown charm? What are your thoughts related to downtown sprawl?
The downtown has always been a combination of chain stores and mom and pop stores, according to Pierre Rademacher, who's done a 40-year in-depth study of the situation. The problem with high rents downtown is that it's harder for the mom and pop stores to actually make the rent. So one idea that I would love to see enacted is to take a large downtown venue, sort of like possibly Davidson's furniture store, and turn it into something along the line of an antique mall, except not just antiques, but all different kinds of mom and pop businesses that could share space and share the overhead instead of each one having to compete for space. I think that that would be a good idea, be fun to explore. The other thing is that I have gotten flack for this, but I have supported redoing the sidewalks and the gutters in the downtown and replanting trees in the downtown, using the general fund to do that in front of our historical buildings. You cannot require a historical building to actually do that work for the city. You can with a new development like Gordon Street Terraces or Chinatown. You can tell the developers, if you want this development, then you have to put in a new sidewalk. So I think continuing to upgrade the walking, the pedestrian safety, and the appearance of the downtown is really a very important thing. In terms of downtown sprawl, I'm not quite sure what that means, but I am definitely in favor of having the uptown, in other words, Santa Rosa, north of Santa Rosa on Monterey Street, become more vibrant and more interesting to people. We've got all those hotels down by the apple farm, and people want to walk to the farmers market on Thursday night, and they really should. There should really be a dynamic set of varieties and options for everybody. I'm real happy with what's happening down there so far with iFixit and with the different restaurants that are there, but I wouldn't call that downtown sprawl. I think that the downtown is going to continue to become more urban, and I think that's a good thing. Go ahead.
Why are you running now? What made you decide to run?
Well, the practical answer to that is that I'm running for re-election for a fourth term because my present term is almost up. And there are so many plans that we have spent time and energy putting together, and now we're on the edge of actually implementing some of those plans. That's not going to be an easy job. That's not a job for a beginner. That's a job for someone who has been around and has acquired the skill and the knowledge, the diplomatic approach and the relationships in order to really make things happen. So I think that that's a very important, it's very important for the city at this juncture to have a mayor who is able to hit the ground running and will not be in a position of having to start from scratch. So I hope that everyone will vote for me for mayor.
Why should we vote for you?
You should vote for me because I'm the most qualified candidate. I have over 12 years experience on council. I've served on a number of regional boards, and right now I'm the president of SLOCOG and SLO RTA, unanimously voted in by all 5 supervisors and all 7 mayors. If you look at my website, you'll see that I have been endorsed by over 23 elected officials, a number of important organizations like the Sierra Club and Planned Parenthood, a number of unions, as well as over 90 city residents. Beyond that, my background, besides my legal qualifications, I also have a background as a university administrator, which for this particular university town is a real asset. I can see both sides of the town-gown struggle, and I enjoy living in a student neighborhood. Plus, I am devoted to the city of San Luis Obispo and really would appreciate having the opportunity to serve the public another 2 years. Thank you.